Hey y'all, it's Amanda and this is my Texas Zone 8 garden, and I've been away from my garden for almost 2 weeks. So I'm going to do a puttering around video today that is just going to allow me some time to really evaluate what's going on in the garden, make some notes over what I need to be doing over the next few weeks, and go ahead and deal with a few of the issues that I see. Okay, so I was in Alaska on an Alaskan cruise for almost 2 weeks. It was glorious, absolutely glorious. Loved it, totally want to move there. It was wonderful, the weather was glorious. And then I come back here and it's very, oh my God, it's so brutal. Anyway, I am very happy to be home. I enjoyed the time. It was a once in a lifetime trip with my family, and I feel so lucky that we were able to do that. And my children loved it, which is wonderful. But I am back in the garden and there is a lot to do. I was shocked at how different my garden looked after just being away from it for 2 weeks. I already done a few things, such as almost all of the petunias had really met their match with the heat, and they had all fizzled out and were like basically dried to a crisp. So I pulled out a lot of those. But I do see one thing in the front yard that we're going to go ahead and start with and just see where it leads us. Okay, over here I have quite a bit of coleus that has just grown monstrous now that the heat has hit. This area of the garden faces more north. It is about 7 o'clock, 7:15 in the evening, and you see it's getting a little bit of sun, but it gets a lot of shade from the crepe myrtle behind it. But it gets full sun in the morning into the afternoon, and then after that it's shaded. And it is set up on drip, does really well. You can grow coleus in full sun. You just have to make sure that it is very well hydrated. Now, what has happened is my coleus has started blooming and started creating seed, which is not what I wanted to do, because when a plant starts creating seed, basically it tells the plant like, hey, you're done. You've gone through the life cycle, you've created seed, now you can die. Well, I don't want mine to die right now. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going in and I'm going to be trimming back some of my, pruning back some of my plants. And when I'm pruning them back, I am going to be looking at basically taking these stems that have these flowers on top and tucking them into a bag here so that I can hopefully collect some seed from these. I'm going to start with all one color. This first one in the front is called Calacha Sunset, and I grew from seed from Baker Creek and absolutely am obsessed and love it. And I would love to be able to grow it from seed again. So basically I'm going to be coming in and just cutting above a set of 2 leaves. So let me bring y'all in a little closer. All right, so we have all this beautiful coleus. So basically I'm just kind of following the stem down a little ways, and then I'm just cutting above a set of 2 leaves and cutting off the blooms and then tucking them into this plastic bag. Now I'm using the plastic bag for right now because when I go inside, I'm going to spread them out like on a plate. I'm not going to leave these flowers in my plastic bag. They will get all moldy, and you really want them to be able to dry out without dealing with that kind of issue. And so I'm just going through my Calacha Sunset, cutting it back like this, and this is going to do a couple of things. First of all, it's allowing me to collect seeds, which is great. Secondly, it is going to force the plant to branch. Anywhere that I am cutting these flowers, it's going to force it to branch into 2 additional branches. So if we look at this guy right here, he's starting to form a flower up here. Following down a set of 2 leaves right there, I'm going to cut right underneath it. And I've got another 2 set of leaves coming up right above it. Now, a couple of things. In Texas, this is not a good time to prune your flowers or any of your plants, truthfully. It's just brutally hot. And these coleus will suffer a little bit, because what I'm doing is every time I cut right here, I'm exposing all of those leaves underneath, right? Well, those leaves underneath have been shaded and now they're being exposed to sun. So they most likely will have a little bit of a struggle, but this is the only choice I have if I want to be able if I want to keep these still growing. If I allow them just to go on the way they are right now, and they're just going to really end up going to seed, and then they're going to die, and then I'm going to have a big open space here. Whereas I would really like to grow these on further for at least until I plant in mid-September, plant all my fall plants, but maybe these will still be around at that time, which would be amazing. So I am cutting pretty deep with these as well. Just putting them in my bag, get them all collected in there. And I'm trying just to collect the Calacha Sunset first together. And then in the back here where I've got the Black Dragon, I'll collect those in a separate bag. One of the things you can see being revealed as I'm cutting this bag is the confetti lantana that I planted maybe about a month ago at this point. You can see it starting to poke up, which makes me excited. This is the weather that lantana loves. Okay, got that taken care of, and this extra foliage just kind of tossing back into the garden to be utilized as kind of like a living mulch back there. All right, I got a new bag, and now we have the Black Dragon coleus, and these need to be taken down quite a bit. So I'm going to just go ahead and come in here and cut these all at once, and then I'll sit down and deal with the flowers. Okay, I'm going to take all this extra foliage, just toss it into the back of the garden so it can break down. Maybe some coleus will reseed itself, which would be awesome because I can always dig it up and move it if I would like. All right, sweet. And I've got 2 bags. So what I'll do is I'll end up taking these inside, spreading them out like on a piece of poster board is what usually works best, especially when I have this mount one. There's just a few, I put it on a plate. But a piece of poster board, I'll put one on one side, one on the other, because these are 2 different varieties. Allow it to just dry for a couple of weeks. Then I will put everything back in these bags and shake these bags really, really hard to loosen up all the seeds and allow them to fall to the bottom. And then I'll remove all the debris. All right, but you can see this area looks much different. Definitely started revealing a lot of the lantana that is growing in here. I fully do expect that some of these leaves will brown up, but I will get new shoots to follow it. You can also see that the limelight hydrangeas are starting to come to fruition. I don't see the rust mold that I typically do at this point yet, but I can guarantee it is coming. Let's step over to these shasta daisies. Okay, these are banana cream shasta daisies, and I did prune these right before I left. And I knew that we were gonna have to prune them again. I would love to get another round of blooms for the fall. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna come in and I'm gonna cut back some of these stems in here. And basically this is gonna trigger the plant to think that it needs to produce more blooms. I would love to get another round of blooms from these, but y'all tell me, because I haven't grown a lot of shasta daisies over time. I mean, I have grown a few, but I don't typically like them very much. Oh, I definitely see some new buds trying to come up. Well, that's good to know. Wow, okay. Y'all let me know if you get multiple bloom cycles out of yours. I felt like I got like 1.5 from it this spring into summer, which is fabulous. But I'm gonna go ahead and take these off so that perhaps it will think about giving me another round. I'm not going too far into the plant for a couple of reasons, or for the main reason is I've told you guys that like when you have a whole bunch of flowers over the top of the plant like that, it shades everything underneath, and everything underneath is used to having shade. So if I go too far into the plant, what I do is I begin to expose the stuff that has been very shaded. And if you expose it to the intense heat that we were having, the triple degree temps, that won't be good for the overall plant in the end. So that would be making it way harder than it perhaps needs to be for it. I'm actually seeing it trying to put on new buds, so this is very exciting. I probably don't have to deadhead this. I don't know, y'all tell me. Maybe this was going to bloom enough to bury its dead. I mean, that's kind of what it was doing earlier in the season. But we'll see what happens. All right, got a couple of blooms that I left. I do have a little bit of pink profusion salvia that looks like it could have, it's got new growth coming off. So I'm going to trim out some of these longer stems that are flaring out everywhere and allow it to just refocus back down here. Some of these that just don't look as good. See how much that cleaned that up already? Great. Okay, I told you guys that petunias don't do well for me in my area. I most likely will plant something else here. I could cut these back really far and see if they come back. I'm not going to. I'm probably going to go get some zinnias or marigolds or purslane. Purslane is probably the best option. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull these out, get this area cleaned up a little bit. Oh yeah, that looks better over here already. And my hibiscus is putting off a lot of blooms, so it's looking nice. I also noticed back in here, this is a petunia right here, and it looks like it was hooked up to drip, but its drip has disappeared. I don't see it. Let us see. There it is. For some reason, its strip had fallen out, so all of those are dead. That's okay. We'll look at replacing that with something else. Okay, looking at this area, this Calamintha nepeta is stunning, absolutely beautiful. Do you see it's bending quite a bit forward, but this is its first year. I planted it in the fall, and this is 2 plants. I perhaps should have separated them out a little bit. I also have some Triumph petunias back here that are just done back in this container, so we'll just go ahead and pull those and put something else in there at a later point in time. I have rock rose coming forward, which is looking really nice. I have some zinnias that need to be cut back so that they can be encouraged for more branching. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Which I know does not sound like any fun, but it will do better this way. Okay, right here I've got some dahlias, and I am going to be giving them a cut back in a few places. Everything's very limp because it's the very end of the day. So I am going to be doing a little bit of deadheading at this point. I'm not going to stress about all these brown ones underneath. I know they're not super attractive, but they do add a certain amount of shade to the base of the plant. So I'm going to leave them as they are at this point in time. All right, look how limp these zinnias are doing right here. It's just a really hard time of year for plants. So I'm going to go these were supposed to have gotten watered this morning. All right, I do have some gladiolas that are fried and done over here. So I'm going to just trim their flowers real quick. Okay, I have a pugster butterfly bush right here. And we are going to do a little bit of deadheading at the top of it to encourage more blooms. And so I'm just kind of following it down. And just taking off any of the spent blooms, cutting above a set of 2 leaves where I see it starting to branch again, which means it's going to want to give me some more flowers, which would be great. Now, this guy usually gets pretty bad spider mites, and I've taken him all the way to the ground before, and he has come back, no problem. So I don't really like stress about cutting him all that much. I'm going to take this whole branch right there, just because I know he's going to come back just fine. This video has turned into a lot of pruning. I'm going to go ahead and cut back some of these straw flower and then just toss the flower heads in the back, hoping that it will reseed itself. I'm going to come in here and give a pull on these petunias. A little bit of airflow in here. There you go. If you recall, I cut back all this meteor showers verbena because it got blown over in the wind, and it's doing beautiful. I actually need to come and harvest. Okay, let me show you what I've noticed with my double brighter asparagus. So this guy is trimmed back. You see all that like dead branches in there? Look at that compared to this guy. See how good that one looks? So what I think I'm going to do is I think I'm just going to go in there and prune out some of the really dead drying branches and open it up, because towards the center you can see more green towards the center. So open up, get rid of some of this dead stuff so that the newer green stuff can grow through it. Have some coneflower right here that needs to be deadheaded. Looks like it's definitely trying to branch off in some places. And I'm just tossing the stems to the back. Maybe they'll reseed themselves. We'll say that my vinca never recovered. I only have a few left, and I think that several of y'all said that they were overwatered, and that was the problem. So I guess I'll have to try again in a different area, maybe an area where I don't have drip. I'm not sure. I got to think about it before I go and invest in more. Okay, I think it's going to be my last spot today because it's hot. I need to go inside. I was recently diagnosed with a skin condition that is exacerbated by heat and moisture. It's pretty hard for my job. So Anyway, it is what it is. Got to take care of myself. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut back these balloon flower just above a set of leaves. Now, typically these balloon flowers just go completely dormant and they'll die all the way back to the ground. So they might end up doing that. If they do, that's fine. I can see it's making seed pods. I don't really care about it having seed pods because I don't really care about growing more of these. They're not my fave. They're fine. They're just kind of short-lived. We'll go ahead and trim these back just so it has a little bit of a cleaner look. Okay, so remember I transplanted some purslane in there not 2 weeks ago? Gorgeous, filled in beautifully. Purple coneflowers are popping. A lot of pretty stuff, and look at the begonia tree. So a lot of y'all had commented about the drip line. They shouldn't have drip line to it. So I should have been more specific when I talked to you about the tree. This tree I had actually left on my front porch for way too long. It was in the shade. And then when I moved it over, it was only 2 days later when I moved it to this spot. It's only 2 days later when I did that tour and showed y'all what was going on. And so since that tour, I've had it hooked up to this drip, so it does get watered regularly. However, it just drains right out and it's looking beautiful. It's starting to fill in gorgeous. So really excited about that. And check that out right there. That is the Golden Falls Weeping Redbud. And this is the trunk right here. And this is all coming up from the trunk. So I think what I'm going to do is probably get in here and redirect some of this up, I think, and allow a new one just to grow in place. And that'll take a long time, y'all, I know. But hey, I don't have to go buy one and I don't have to dig this up. So I think that that might be the way to go. Okay, we have a lot more things that need to be pruned and trimmed, but I'm going to save that for tomorrow because I've hit my limit for today and need to go in and cool off. So many bumblebees out right now. Okay, I have old pieces of poster board. These are like, what do you call it? Like chore charts for my kids a long time ago. Just kept those and they work great for situations like this. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out those coleus blooms and all I'm going to do is just spread them out on here, and they're right under a ceiling fan. So you have the opportunity to dry out here. A lot of them are already dropping seeds. Coleus seeds are really tiny. We'll go just like that. And that's what I'll do. I'll leave them like that a week, maybe two, when I remember. Once they're all really dry, like crispy dry, I'll put them back in these bags, zip it up, and shake this guy like crazy until all the seeds start falling to the bottom. And then I'll start sifting out all the debris. Typically I use a slotted spoon to start, and then once I get further in, I use a colander because coleus seeds are so tiny. So that'll be good. All right, you all, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Puttering around the yard, just seeing where it ended up going. A lot of just cleanup stuff, and that's a lot of what I do at this time of year. A lot of maintenance, and then a lot of preparing for the fall, which is totally exciting. It is much too hot to be out in the garden every day, so I will probably be out there every other day if I'm lucky. Just depending on how hot it is. Once it gets like super hot, it's not even worth it. And you're just hoping your garden survives. You're hoping you stay healthy from not being in the garden too often. All right, y'all, as always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Every time you like and comment, it helps grow my channel so much. And be sure to check me out on my social media outlets, including Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. As always, she's a mad gardener or decorator or anything else that she wants to be. Thanks, y'all.